that a lot of people on campus don't really know what's going on in Kentucky. They think I'm blind. I get helped across the street a lot. And people think I'm training a dog, which, I mean, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with me. So I would just fall flat on the ground and hurt myself. I've broken every limb. I've had 16 concussions and broken a lot of my fingers. And I couldn't go anywhere by myself before I had Shiitake. I had to be supervised at all times, like a 4-year-old. So it's kind of hard to imagine being a college student and not having any independence whatsoever. So one day my mom came home from work and it had a People magazine and it had an article in it about canine partners, and so she said, you have to do this. And so I did. I went on the website and filled out an application, wrote 2 essays, and I went for an interview in Pennsylvania, and then they gave me the dog. About 6 months later, I went for a 3-week training session, and I got Shiitake. Canine Partners for Life is a nonprofit organization, and all their donations are tax deductible. So if you decided to give a big old chunk of money, you wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. And they're completely donation-based, which means everybody that works there, their wages come from donations. They pay for their internet with donations, they pay for all their power bills, they pay for all the vet things, they pay for all the dogs, everything with donations. So no one really makes any extra money. There's no profit coming out of this program. They do 40 to 50 dogs a year. They have full-service dogs like Shiitake. They also have home companion dogs, which don't ever leave the house, but they're specially trained so that someone can have a home companion, and they can also have a dog that works really well with them. Say they have like children that are under the age of 12, they have severe autism, it would be like a therapy dog for them. They also partner that kind of thing. There's also, when they train the dogs, full-service dogs, they're trained specifically to their needs. There's a woman that was in my class that is a paraplegic, and when she spends a lot of time in bed, and the dog was trained to roll her over to prevent bed sores. So every 2 hours, the dog would come up on the bed and actually physically push this woman over because she couldn't do it herself. And that dog was specifically trained to do that. It's very cool. It costs $22,000 to train one dog. So that's how much Shiitake is worth, plus all the other stuff I have to pay. It takes 2 years to train the dog. The first year they spend in either a puppy home, which is a family that would volunteer to take care of this dog, and they would train it to be the best little puppy possible. They do standard commands like sit, down, stay, and they also teach them to poo and pee on command, which is great. So, and then after that first, they also have a prison puppy program where convicted felons get to train a puppy. They can't have done anything to do with violence or drugs, anything like that. It can be like a tax evader, something like that. But that's where Shiitake was. He was in Graterford Prison, which is a high security prison in Pennsylvania for his first year. And then the second year, they spend on-site at Canine Partners. They have a giant kennel that holds about 40 dogs. There are about 70 volunteers that come in and work there. All the dogs come from breeding programs, shelters, and then some people donate dogs. So if for some reason you had a litter of labs and you thought, well, I want to give one to Canine Partners, you could hop one up there to Pennsylvania and give a dog. Shiitake was done through a breeding program. They select the top dogs from the Canine Partners, and before they're neutered, they breed them. So, and they're bred for certain qualities, like being smart and being able to perform skills. So Shiitake right now does not have a very good coat because he's bred for other things, not for a fabulous coat like other dogs would be. The service dog industry has all kinds of service dogs. There's guide dogs, which is what most people think Shiitake is, because it's got the harness and I'm walking around like this. There's also hearing dogs, which tend to be a little bit smaller. They alert a person in the house when the doorbell rings, when the phone rings, that kind of thing. There's service mobility dogs, which is what Shiitake was originally trained to be. It was just a mobility dog, which is why his harness is so big. It's made like a horse saddle. So if someone with a mobility issue wanted to walk with him, needed to walk slow, they could lean on him without hurting him. Alert dogs, which is what Shiitake is also doing, are trained, and Canine Partners is one of the only organizations in the world that trains full service alert dogs. There's also psychiatric service dogs, which would be like a dog that would separate someone with, say, OCD disorder from, or some kind of obsessive compulsive thing like that, from a crowd of people if they can't stand being touched. There's also an organization that I learned about a couple months ago in Canada that is training dogs for autistic children. But autistic children have a tendency to bolt and they don't like being touched. So say they got frustrated in a situation and their parents can't grab a hold of them because it freaks them out so bad. So what would happen is there would be a dog attached to them. And instead of their parents trying to struggle and hold them down, the dog would just be putting them down. And then the child can't get away. And autistic children tend to really love animals. And so they have the relationship with an animal, and they also they can't run away, which is really cool. It's also therapy dogs, which are brought to nursing homes. They're brought to campuses to let you guys bond with dogs since you're not with yours at home.